Welcome to Western Wisconsin Journal. I'm Bobby Pominville. I'm your music and art reporter, and I have a very, very fun interview today with someone I've known for years since she was a younger girl. And I want to introduce you to Rebecca Tank. Welcome to the show, Rebecca.
Pleasure to be here.
Well, thank you. I've heard her play her saxophone, and I know you play violin. You also play piano, and I've been to a recital about a year ago of yours, and I have been hearing these wonderful, wonderful comments about how you are excelling on your saxophone. And I just take a lot of delight in that because that was my instrument. You passed me, I know that. So could we maybe go back to beginning band?
Okay.
And tell us how you chose that instrument.
Yeah, well, I was really close to choosing the French horn, actually. It was either the saxophone or the French horn, and I thought that they kind of sounded really similar in the tone. Mm-hmm. Yeah, some people might disagree with me on that, but I don't know. I just thought they were both really beautiful instruments. Mm-hmm. But I really liked the versatility of the saxophone. I liked how you could do jazz, classical, or any type of music that you really wanted.
Yes.
But I was really indecisive about it, so indecisive that I just asked one of my friends, I was like, so should I play French horn or saxophone? And they said saxophone, so I just went with that.
And it happened to be just the right fit.
Yeah.
I mean, I know sometimes students don't get the instrument the first time that they really like. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you are asked to choose a different instrument, but you have picked a really good one.
Yeah, I'm glad I picked that one.
I am too. I'm super glad for you. I know I didn't have a choice because my father wanted me to play a saxophone because he played in a dance band.
Oh, cool.
And I thought, okay, I'm fine with that. Mm-hmm. So Hudson School System has a pretty good band program.
Yeah.
So would you tell me about some of the teachers who have inspired you?
Sure. Well, I've had a lot of teachers in the past, and they've all had something that's contributed to like where I am today. But I know Dr. Chernahoy, the conductor of River Falls, the
St. Croix Symphony.
Yeah.
Orchestra, I believe.
Yeah. That too. I got the privilege to be in that as well, which was really fun, on violin. So yeah, she really inspires me, and she's like a great person, honestly. And I love like seeing how much fun she has and stuff, and I just want to be like that when I'm older. So yeah.
Oh my goodness, she's been on this show, and we've promoted some of her concerts and some of her actually what she does at the university. And her major instrument was alto saxophone.
Yeah.
Did you find that out?
I did know that, yeah.
Have you ever had a lesson with her?
No.
But then she's not really doing that at this point.
No, she's mostly just conducting.
Right, and she's busy at the University of River Falls, we should say, UW River Falls. So that's an excellent choice.
Yeah.
Anybody else you want to name that was really maybe helped you along?
Yeah, well, Miss Root really,
yes.
Yeah, she's really inspired me. She's motivated me to practice, you know. Like when I was trying out for all the honors, she would always help me whenever I needed like a lesson or something. She'd always be there to help me. So.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
I know she's very well thought of it.
Yeah.
And I guess I was teaching at the middle school for a while. And I just think the world of Mrs. Root. Yeah. So you had excellent teacher there.
Right.
And now you're at the high school.
Mm-hmm.
And you're playing in what next year?
The Wind Symphony.
The Wind Symphony. That is the top group, I believe.
Yeah.
And would that be Mr. McCarthy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. McCarthy's directing that.
And then do you play in jazz band too?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Mr. Simon directs the jazz bands. That was super fun to do this last year.
He was on the show just a couple months ago.
Really?
No kidding, because I actually wanted to feature him a little bit. Because you don't always hear about the jazz band, and I thought that would be fun if he could tell me about it.
Yeah.
And then he's got his own group he plays in.
Yeah, he's a really great jazz player.
He is very, very interesting man. And I do truly think you've got some wonderful instructors.
Mm-hmm.
So, I could just see how this can be a fun year for you. Yeah. Well, now I was talking to you a little bit before, and I was remembering how I was invited to a recital that you played at the Phipps Center for the Arts.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there's a reason for that. Why were you doing that recital?
For Carnegie Hall that I was going to, and I just wanted to raise a little money because it was pretty expensive, but it was a great honor to be able to play in New York.
Goodness, you were chosen to play at Carnegie Hall. Now, how did that happen?
Well, Mrs. Brown, one of my middle school teachers, told me about that, and I thought it sounded like a great experience, so I thought I would just try out. I wasn't sure if I was going to make it or not, but I decided to send in a recording, and I think I got an email, I think it was an email, and they just said, like, congratulations, you've been selected.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was fun.
And what year were you then?
I was
8th grade?
Yeah, I was going to be in 9th grade.
Oh, you were going
year.
into 9th grade?
Yeah.
Well, do you know how rare that is? For a person of that age, I mean, I imagine that competition's very stiff.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes. So that was a big, big deal. And oh my goodness, the way you played at that recital, I was so impressed with you. And if I remember right, your mother accompanied?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, your mother's an excellent pianist, accompanist, and I believe she's taught some lessons.
Yeah, in the past she has.
Yes. And we probably should include your dad at this point and say he used to be a band director.
Mm-hmm.
And he plays a lot. He freelances and he plays in different bands. So, my goodness, the whole family.
Yeah. Family's very musical.
That's just so sweet. Now, what happened at Carnegie Hall? I can't remember what the program was, or what was it like to go out there?
Well, it was an honors band that I got to be a part of.
Oh, yes.
It was like nothing I've been a part of. I mean, I've been in like state honors before, but this was just really a great time. It was a great experience.
Goodness.
Yeah. And we got to like tour some of New York too. They kind of like showed us a lot of the places to go to when you're there, so that was really fun. Yeah.
So did your family go with you then?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we actually drove out there.
You drove?
Yeah.
Wow. That's a long drive.
Yeah, it's a very long drive.
And New York is kind of intimidating to me.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of successful people there, and
Oh
it is
my
very
goodness, yes.
intimidating.
Oh, so you did a performance there with other musicians,
Mm-hmm.
pretty much from high schools, right?
That was the middle school band.
Oh, wait, that was the middle
Yeah.
school, right? You were going into...
I was going to be in 9th grade, but they counted that since I would be in 8th grade when I auditioned.
Oh, that's
Like sent in the
true.
recording.
Yeah.
So
You were right on the verge of entering the high school,
Yeah.
and you've already been to Carnegie Hall.
Well, for the high school one, it's actually in Sydney, Australia, so that...
What?
Yeah, I know. Can't ride in the car to there, but...
Are you ever going to send in a tape for that?
Possibly, but
That's
I'm
a
not...
long ways.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Well, my goodness, what an exciting experience. And I just was so happy I got invited to your recital. That was so special.
Thank you.
Now let's talk about some of the awards you received.
Okay.
I know one is an Exemplary Musician Award. What was that all about?
Yeah, so there's solo and ensemble every year that I go to. This past year, I did a solo for violin, clarinet, and saxophone. And then I also did a couple ensembles for violin, like chamber orchestra and a quartet, which was really fun. And I got to state with clarinet, violin, and saxophone. Oh, all of them. But for the exemplary soloist, I got that on saxophone, and that was,
Oh my.
yeah, that was cool.
So the music you're playing must be so difficult.
I guess. I don't know. I just find it fun to play. I like technical things.
Good.
Yeah.
Now, do you think one of your secrets is that you know how to practice?
I think that helps a lot. Yeah.
I do.
I think the trick is to practice smarter, not harder. I mean, there's some people that I've heard that, and they're like, I practice 3 hours a day, and and then there's but if you practice 3 hours a day and it's not like focused, detailed practice, you're just like kind of noodling around, that's not really practice, and you're not gonna get very far with that. But I think doing like 15 minutes of really focused practice is a lot more effective than doing like an hour of just, fooling around. Yeah.
So somewhere along the line, you learned how to practice the right way.
Yeah. I just listened to what Miss Root said, and I took her advice on what to do. So.
Well, that is just amazing. And don't you think if you really like something, practicing is kind of fun?
Yeah. It's not a chore. It's just something that I like to do.
Yeah. That's the way I was with piano. I always loved to practice the piano, and a lot of people said, why are you practicing so much? And I said, well, I just want to learn more and more and more, and I want to be better. Mm-hmm. And I think, boy, you've got the secret there. Now, that was a state award then, the State Solo Ensemble. Mm-hmm. Now, have I missed any other awards? Because I know you've been featured in the paper a little too.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Well, I've gotten like a couple awards for being in honors and state honors and stuff.
Oh, yeah, and it's called the Honors Band.
Yeah.
And it happens every year, I believe. Mm-hmm. So would that continue now next year?
Yeah. Well, I was at camp a few weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago, for the state honors band, and then the performance is going to be in October, I believe, in Madison, I think.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Because that's the big convention every year for teachers.
Yeah, I love going to there.
Oh, yeah. Wonderful. I've actually been to that a couple times myself, even though I was teaching vocal, because I love band too. Yeah. It's just that I'm not working that hard with my band program right now. But anyway, that would be in Madison, and goodness, you've already practiced for that?
Well, yeah. It's different from middle school honors, which this is my first year of doing high school honors.
Oh, right.
Yeah, before it would just be, so you get the music a few months before you practice, and then you get together with the band for the first time in October, a few days before the performance, and then you just work on it for like 8 hours a day. Yeah, it's a lot of work, and then a few days later, I think it's just like 2 days later, you have the performance. So,
really?
Yeah. And for high school, I got the music when I went to camp. So then, yeah, we worked on it there. And then.
Now, was that camp they have every year, like Shell Lake?
Well, it's not Shell Lake.
Am I thinking of a different one?
No, Shell Lake's a little different, but they do have it every year.
Oh,
so.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That must have been a lot of fun for you.
Yeah.
And to be with so many musicians and of your caliber.
Yeah.
So you can really do well and excel.
It was very humbling to be there.
Wow, you have the right attitude too. Now, I heard at one point that you started composing.
Yeah, well.
And your piece was featured.
Yeah, well.
This summer, I believe.
Last summer.
Last summer,
yeah.
Was that with the band, the community band?
Mm-hmm, the community band played it. That was nice.
Was that in the band shell here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Well, tell me about that piece you composed.
Okay, well, it was for a competition, really. There was a composition competition that Miss Root was telling me about, and I was thinking about that. I was like, wow, that would be really cool if I could like create music to play. And so I just like tried it out. I didn't really expect anything, but I wrote the piece and I sent it in, and I ended up winning, which was great. So.
And that was for saxophone solo?
No, that was the band piece.
Oh, it was all for the whole band?
Yeah.
Oh, then I'm thinking of a different event where you were featured as a soloist.
Oh yeah, that's the Gustavus Concerto, or the high school concerto. I don't know.
How did that work?
So
Was that another audition tape?
yeah, yeah. So that's the concerto part. That's not composition, but
Oh yeah, and you're going to be featured there?
I already was.
Oh.
This past spring I got to play with the Gustavus College Orchestra. Sent in a tape just like the Carnegie Hall one, and I was a finalist. And when I went there, so like after you send in the tape, you go to the college and you like audition live in front of a couple of judges or the conductor, Dr. Lynn, and she was so nice, honestly. But there was like a couple violinists, a flutist or flautist, and a vocalist, and they were all amazing, honestly.
So now you're talking violin.
I was playing saxophone for that.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Because I got mixed up. I knew you were excelling in more than one instrument. So that was actually saxophone.
Yeah, I've been focusing on saxophone a lot for the past year or so.
You should, because I could see you going on and on, and even professionally.
Yeah, I think that would be really fun
You should
to
think
do.
about that.
Yeah.
I think you would do really well, but I love that you're so multi-talented that you're also playing your violin and practicing.
Yeah.
And I would say you're doing pretty well at piano too.
Yeah, mostly just for composition, but I mean, I like to play for fun sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not very technically, I'm not a very good technical player, but I really like the expressive pieces like Chopin.
I think this is wonderful that you've got all these different facets of music going. Because just think how you can understand how, like for example, if you're playing your sax solo and then you've got an accompanist.
Yeah, that it's really nice to see understand how the piano part fits with the saxophone, how the saxophone part fits with the...
That's very important. And then you do violin solos too.
Yeah, I mean, I've been not doing as many lately, but yeah, I'm currently taking a break from all my lessons, but I'm going to get back into them soon. So.
When school starts.
Yeah.
Well, then, boy, that's pretty soon.
Yeah, it's in like a week, actually.
But you know what, it must be hard to be having so many different things to practice for.
Yeah, and I have had troubles with that in the past. You know, you can end up burning out for a while. And
oh, yes.
I've had times where I've kind of like lost inspiration, but that happens to I think every musician at time, but as long as you like regain it back, and now I'm just focusing more on saxophone. So yeah.
Wow, it's just very impressive. Now, did that work you wrote, you composed, have a name?
Yeah, The Quest for the Cookie Jar.
I heard that once before. I think you
Yeah.
talked about it maybe at the Phipps or something.
Yeah, I don't know. My grandma I remember it had to do with like when my mom was little, and my grandma, like my mom would try to like steal cookies from the cookie jar or whatever, and my grandma would get really like mad at her for doing that and stuff, so you have to be super quiet. So I kind of just tried to resemble that in the piece. I like to have like a storyline to the pieces that I write.
That's perfect. Because I think that gives you so many ideas for how you're going to write it.
Yeah, I don't know, like film scores really intrigue me as well.
Oh, yes. Anything in particular?
Yeah. I really like John Williams, obviously, like
Oh, yes.
E.T. is a really great one that I've been listening to lately.
Yeah.
Oh, and I forgot who wrote it, like Bernard, the Psycho Suite I love that. I love horror film.
You mean from the movie?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that old movie.
Yeah, the original. Like,
oh, that's a scary one.
I love it though. It's amazing, honestly.
So the music has to be pretty descriptive.
Yeah, it really has to just show what's like going on in the film. Because have you ever watched a movie without the music? Because it's not the same at all.
That wouldn't work.
Yeah, it wouldn't. And if you had like the wrong kind of music for a genre, if you're playing like happy music when something bad was gonna happen, you know, you want to do suspenseful music, so you have to like know how to match the music or just sorts of rhythms, notes, keys that work better for things.
Well, I love movies and I like movie music too. And one time John Williams came to Orchestra Hall. And it's been a few years now, quite a few years. And he was doing movie music.
Yeah.
And then they had a little bit of a visual thing going on behind the orchestra.
Yeah, I remember a few years ago at the high school, I was in middle school, but I remember the top band played a piece to go along with like a film, and I remember seeing that. It was so cool. Yeah.
So that's really a neat venue too. That would be a different genre to get into for you too. Wow, that was really neat you brought that up because that's something I enjoy. Do you have any special performances coming up this year, or what's going to happen in the fall with you?
Well, I'm mostly at the beginning of school. I'm like practicing a lot to get ready for the later in the year, because in the spring is when everything is, a lot of things are going on.
Right.
But I'm thinking of possibly auditioning for the Schubert Club, which I don't know much about yet, but I was recently at a saxophone camp, and Preston Duncan, a saxophonist, recommended that I maybe try out for that, and so I just...
Isn't that the club at the Landmark where they do soloists and feature different
I know
people?
you like feature soloists there, but I can't, I don't know much about it. So.
That would be really difficult to get into.
Yeah, I know. I like challenging myself for
That's
things. That's
a really good goal.
Yeah, it's what pushes me to like keep on practicing.
I love that your goals are so high and you just really have so much to look forward to. And then you'll be playing in what, band and orchestra?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was thinking of possibly doing choir as well, but I need a little break. I need time to do my homework and stuff, because I have to balance like my music life, my education, and my social life, because I still want a social life. So.
Oh, that's a very, very smart answer. Yeah. I like that you're thinking that way. And if we ever did want to see you, we could certainly come to some of those concerts at the high school.
Sure, yeah.
I think they're renovating the auditorium.
Yeah.
And I'm interested to see what it's going to be like.
Me too.
So I'm sure in the fall you will have a band concert.
Yeah.
And
some point
orchestra.
or another. Yeah, I assume so.
And I don't know if you know this, but the orchestra program hasn't been in Hudson very long.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
You know, it just came to the high school maybe a couple years ago.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It took us quite a while. I was on that committee. I think we started with third grade orchestra. Isn't that where it starts?
Fourth grade is
Lessons,
when I started,
should say.
at least.
I mean, fourth grade. You're right. It's fourth grade lessons. And then hopefully you can play in a group. And usually at the end of the year, they put even the elementary students together.
Oh, yeah. They used to have like all the grades put together in the big gym.
Oh, my goodness. It was just massive.
Yeah, the orchestras have been getting not way too large, but it's a good problem to have too many students like in the orchestra, so they kind of split it up this year. But
it's so popular.
Yeah.
And I've always thought that Hudson should have an orchestra, so I'm very, very happy to have that. Mm-hmm. And to think that it's going through at the high school level. Now, I can't imagine how many violins would be in that orchestra. I don't know.
Well, there's two orchestras. The orchestra for freshman and sophomore, there was, I think, I don't know, like maybe 15 at the most.
Oh, yes.
But then for the top orchestra, there's a few more.
Oh, so there's two groups.
Yeah, it's split up by age, so.
Okay. Oh, very good. And then I believe the jazz band has their own concerts.
Mm-hmm.
That's separate from the other one.
Yeah, separate.
So you'll be busy with that. You'll be busy practicing. You'll be thinking about what you might audition for.
Yeah, I'm gonna audition for. Well, there's things that I audition for every year, like honors. I'm gonna do that again.
Oh yes, you must do that.
Yeah.
Because you've experienced that already.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what an excellent program that is.
Yeah.
Well, now, this has really been fun for me.
Me too.
So I have to thank you for coming today. It was a little difficult to organize, but we got it done.
Yeah.
And you are, in a few minutes, you're going to play something for us. Mm-hmm. So would you please tell our audience what you're going to play on your saxophone?
Yeah, I'm going to be playing the Creston Sonata by Paul Creston on saxophone. So.
And that would be, what was I going to say? It'll be kind of an excerpt.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
that's a
just
pretty
probably, like,
long piece.
Yeah, probably just like the first minute or so.
All right.
So.
Well, thanks again for
Yeah.
coming today, Rebecca.
Thank
What
you.
fun to talk to
Yeah,
you.
you too.
I love it. All right.
Okay.
And we hope you enjoyed the show and continue watching because you're going to see some really excellent playing right now. Thanks for watching.